Have you ever looked at a unit or a rune build from some of the top tier players and ever wonder why in the world they have a build that way? For example, have you ever taken a look at my Bastet and then look at my Bernard and wondered to yourself, the hell are you doing, man? Today we're going to answer that question as well as some of the other common mistakes that generally people make and some solutions that we can figure out for you guys when it comes to rune builds and some of the PvP monsters in Summoners War. What's going on, everybody? It's Childish. We're back at it again with the next critical thinking video for you all today. As always, thank you all so much for tuning in. Today's topic is going to be the truth about rune builds, in my humble opinion, when it comes to PvP monsters in Summoners War. As an influencer, a lot of people come up to me with a variety of questions. I would have to say the number one question that comes out to me is, for the early to mid-game players, they're asking, arena defense, how do I go about building it? Can you take a look at Monster Box and see what is the best option? Because I truly have tried everything and nothing is really working. So today's topics that we're going to be discussing is generally not what you want to hear, but what you need to hear, all right? As you guys know, coming up in the ranks, playing this game, the focus is going to be on the PvE side. Why is that? Because the progression of PvE allows you to get those high quality runes to go along with the units that you collect in order to accelerate on the PvP side. Now, as the early to mid game player, we understand that out of all the options that are available to us, arena is generally going to be the one to focus on first and foremost because of the fact of the glory shop. As you guys collect the points generated from the arena, it's going to allow you to level up a variety of towers to include speed, hit points, critical damage, attack, defense, and a variety of element-based towers. That's going to allow you to not only accelerate on the PvP side, but if you didn't know, those actually carry over to the PvP side. So looking at a general monster box or whatnot, we have to decide, what is going to be the best approach for the majority of people. Now, early to mid-game players, if you've ever seen posts on Reddit or other YouTube streamers out there in the community, generally they're going to be recommending standard builds, and for the most part, that'll do relatively well. The truth about the early to mid game PvP, and I'm going to say in the Fighter 1 to Fighter 3, as well as Conquer 1 and a little bit of Conquer 2, ultimately, the rune quality and strategy, both valuable and very important things. But the rune quality, I truly feel, trumps strategy when it comes to the arena defense side. I can create, or anybody can create, a list of arena defense teams to go ahead and set up. But if the rune quality is not there, it's not going to do really well. So ultimately, when I'm talking to people and talking about the arena defensive side, if the rune quality is not on par, I generally like to recommend focusing on the arena offensive side. Why? Because of the arena offense, getting those glory points, you're going to be able to generate those a lot quicker than you would on the defensive side, because you can focus on what you can control. You get to choose who you feel you can take down, and you're going to go in there with confidence to be able to knock that opponent down, right? You're not going to be second guessing teams that you probably wouldn't be able to take down when it comes to the arena side. So when it comes to what your focus should be on, I say arena offense over arena defense. And when the rune quality is able to match up to the strategy that you're trying to bring, then go ahead and play around with that arena defensive side. And for me, the rune quality, if it can carry you to about Conquer 2, I think it's a great minimum, Conquer 2, Conquer 3 without even rushing, then your rune quality is probably there. It's probably there. And so definitely start to play around with that strategy. As far as the basic strategies go, though, let's not forget about the basics here. When it comes to the arena defensive side, we generally, depending on where you're at in the ranks, we generally want to create a defense that's going to counter what we see in the meta. For the early to mid-game players, we have to consider all the common teams that generally people are going to bring, and what is going to be, out of those, what is going to be the biggest one. In my humble opinion, I believe that the double Lucian strategy, whether it's Bernard Megan Lucian, Bernard Seek Lucian, double Lucian, that particular strategy is probably going to be one of the top-notch ones. Why? Because it allows you to bring 2 attack dealing monsters that ignore defense, and you don't have to worry about basically the concept of will runes, the concept of defense break on your opponent, because you get to ignore defense and just rip through those units here. So if you can create an arena defenses that's going to deter Lucian type of units, wind based monsters that can ignore defense, then definitely do so. But again, getting back to the main point, you have to consider the fact of rune quality. While you may be able to counter that, if the rune quality is not there, it's still not going to be exactly what you want to see, okay? So if you are an early to mid-game player and you're starting to move up into the higher ranks, you guys already understand that the standard builds go out the window and the uncommon builds in combination with high quality runes, as well as not just the offensive strategy, but the defensive strategy, is definitely going to allow you to accelerate into that guardian ranks, okay? The common misconception is, oh, I got the Zyros, I got this offensive unit, and I got this offensive unit, whatever. I got Zyros, Galleon, Tiana, you know, whatever. Yes, those are many units, but getting back to square one, rune quality is going to get you there. But again, we got the rune quality, now we got the strategy. The offensive strategy is 1 point, but as you climb up in the ranks, you start to climb up with more competitive people that are generally going to be taking you on in that rush hour time. So, arena defensive side, you now need to start incorporating as much effort as you do in the strategy as you do with the rune quality. See what generally people like to take into the offensive side, and see what you can go ahead and do to counter and essentially catch your opponents off guard. That is going to be a #1 thing. Now, so let's get back to the common issue of early to mid-game players, right? While we may have the rune quality as we generally want to do it, ultimately it's the rune requirement of all the PvP aspects of the game, the arena, the guild war, the RTA, that doesn't allow us to do what we need to do to accelerate in every single aspect of the game. Okay, how many times have you guys seen somebody's monster box where they literally had every single nat 5 under the sun, but the quality of their runes did not allow them to do stuff that you've been doing for a very, very long time? So the #1 solution to it is, after you've generated those B10 compositions, after you've started to create the rune builds with some of your high quality PvP monsters, take a look at what's most important to you. Have you already, should you be focusing on arena? Should you be focusing on guild wars? Or should you be focusing on RTA? On the arena side, you understand that the glory shop is extremely important. Some of those towers need to get upgraded so that you can sell other aspects. Have you already done that? If so, are you part of a guild? In that guild, are you a top performer and you need to definitely contribute to allow your a guild to accelerate in that guild war rank, right? Or let's say you've done an extremely good job in the arena side and the guild war side, or maybe you've created compositions that allow you to take advantage of both the arena and guild war side, and now you can mess around with RTA. Are you able to do it without crippling any of your monsters? That's going to be a key factor there. So definitely consider that, because I feel like what you need to do is focus on what is most important to you and consolidate the PvP runes with one of those aspects of the game so that you can compete with those players that you have the potential to compete with, okay? So what we're going to go ahead and do is take a quick peek at just why my Bastet has my fastest Swift runes and not Bernard. As you may or may not know, I'm part of the Epic Fail community, which is comprised of 5 guilds and over 120 members. Within that community, we have 2 G3 guilds, Epic Fail Delta, as well as Epic Fail Alpha. I've been in both communities, and as you guys know, Epic Fail community has been around since the inauguration of Guild Wars, and when that started, I made a pact with myself. Regardless of all the other aspects of the game that I enjoy, the arena or the RTA now, Guild Wars is my main focus. Guild Wars I need to prioritize over all, and that is the mindset that we use with our members so that we can continuously compete in the upper ranks. So what I'm going to show you is not any kind of fluke or anything. This is the truth, okay? When it comes to everything that we talked about early on, moving up in the ranks, the combination of rune quality, the strategy and whatnot, that all plays a role for me when it comes to Guild Wars, okay? So what we're going to do is, similar to the arena side, I'm going to talk about my Guild War offensive side, and then just a little bit on the Guild War defensive side. You'll kind of see how they intertwine, okay? When it comes to Guild War side, let's go ahead and click this one, and let's say we're going to attack. These 5 teams you see right here allow me to compete with regards to everything that I currently see in the Guild War G3 meta today. And the crazy thing about it is, generally, when we're talking about units, room builds, teams, and strategies, we have all these unique things that we think about and kind of create in order to counter what we see. But ultimately, the consolidation of the runes with your top tier monsters that you can put put forth in both, your offensive side as well as the defensive side is going to allow you to get an edge on your opponent so that you can do well when it comes to the Guild Wars, right? If I were to create a more variety of teams to counter a couple unique things that I see in the meta, sure, it would make sense. But it would make sense. But however, the more teams I create, the more runes I have to spread out amongst other units. And for me, I consider myself a mid to late game player, possibly late game player. I don't consider myself an end game player. So I really need to pay close attention to how many unique units and rune builds and teams that I create that doesn't allow me to cripple those teams and whatnot. And these 5 teams definitely do it for me, okay? So talking about Bastet, one more here. Why is Bastet on the fastest rune builds, okay? When it comes to G3 Guild War defense, right? One of the things that I commonly see is a lot of support-based monsters, and rightfully so, being speed-based or built with speed onto, that are generally running anywhere in that 220 to 250 speed range. So ultimately, if I want to get that first turn and I want to take advantage of 2 amazing monsters that I have, Charlotte and Lucian, I need to make sure that if I'm not running the speed lead, I'm able to compete with my opponent and get that first turn all day, every day here. So I particularly run my fastest Swift set on Bastet, and so that I can get that jump on that, and then I have Charlotte to lead back here, coming right underneath Bastet here to get that attack bar manipulation done, and then Lunish to kind of finish off with a hit. Now, keep in mind that at this G3 rank, we're going to see a lot of will, and it's going to be hard to deal with. However, one of the things that I've kind of noticed is that when people really focus on creating certain compositions that really put an emphasis on speed, they start to lack in a variety of things, whether it be HP, defense, or both. And so when it comes to effective HP, having a unit like Lucian is going to allow me to basically take away one of those elements and just focus on the raw damage and dealing with the HP. So having a unit like this with a ton of speed, a ton of HP, a ton of attack, critical rate, critical damage, I'm able to do, roughly anywhere from 11k to 13k AoE on this particular unit, if they don't have, a defense break or whatever, which, as you know, I don't run a defense break on this team with respect to Bastet, but I'm getting the first turn, right? And then finishing off with Lucian with the combination of those Glory Shop buildings that I was talking about earlier, in conjunction with the Guild Wars Guild Shop buildings, I'm able to do 10.5 to 11k damage, getting upwards of 43k HP that I'm able to take out on that first turn. Why is that extremely important? Because again, for what I currently see, a win-based element like this, I'm able to counter any team that's not running any kind of speed-based setup that is generally comprised of light units, dark units, water units, or wind units. And covering 4 out of 5 elements, that allows me to definitely use this or prioritize this team as one of my main compositions out of the 5. And of course, as you guys know, anything could happen at the end of the day. We could lose, a couple of monsters, but ultimately, I've put so much focus on these 5 teams here that it allows me to make sure that I'm coming in there confident and do what I need to do for my guild, for my community, to make sure I perform well and get the job done. Okay, so again, guys, while Bernard is an amazing unit, and you can use them in like a Bernard, Megan Lucian, Bernard, Bastet Lucian, he could be your arena focus. That is not the case here. I have put everything I can on the Guild Wars side so that I can do what I need to do for my team, for my guild, and Bernard comes second to me. Yes, I still do use Bernard in other aspects of the game, but ultimately it's not my focus. So I send the message back to you guys. Take a look at your monster box. Take a look at where you're at in the game with regards to the units, rune builds, so on and so forth. Are you at the level where you have enough runes to bring that rune quality? And then, do you have the unique units that allow you to create a certain strategy to counter what you see in the meta, work in that aspect, and then turn it up a little notch? Are you at the level to be able to create a team with a unique, unorthodox, uncommon build that's going to allow you to, at least on the Guild Wars side, entice them to come, but catch them off guard when they choose your team? Because if you can do that, you're definitely going to have the jump on your opponent, okay? That's going to be it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like that video at the end of this wrap here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. It's your boy Childish, your ChildishPlays. Take care, and we'll see you in our next Critical Thinking video. I'm out.